all the things that I'm learning in America is not for the benefit of America, it's for the benefit of my home country.
Wow. Why do you love Ghana this much?
It is okay for anybody who is within our age bracket to say, I've had it all. Not everyone's resilience is built the same.
No more Ghana because they're seeing it in their faces. The politicians are looting the money. What you talking about?
Derek, I'll ask you a question. So if you leave, I leave, your producers leave. Me, sometimes if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, Charlie, and then they got any soakings, I'll eat it like that because...
Esinam, you have elections coming up. Are you sure you will not perhaps be in a position
to give or to collect?
To give, because you are the politician. You are...
To give.
Yeah.
I have really not been a big fan of vote buying because if I'm here to save with you, why do I have to pay you to save you?
Have you just not seen enough to not want to be a politician?
So, hey. Oh, Derek, this is too hard. Not so many Ghanaian planners would want to do people's wedding like it's a project. The very last event that I did, the boat driver boated with the bride's mother's dress. The bride wore her dress. Out of nowhere, there were red lipsticks all in the dress. She's about to walk the aisle. If you're somebody who panics, you can't do these kind of jobs. It's like, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Came to kneel down, pick the toothbrush. Eventually, it worked out.
Talk, no dey cook right.
Hi guys, welcome to your favorite podcast, the conversation where I sit down with young meaningful Ghanaians once again who are making a difference. In this same Ghana way, Charlie, everybody they complain say Ghana hard, I for left. Somebody is not interested in leaving. I mean, I don't know if you ask me if I want to leave. I don't know if I'll leave or I'll stay, But the conversation where we get to talk to people who are doing so well in a place where that seems quite tough. I mean, when you compare the dynamics with other places, Ghana, actually, no easy, but some people are making it. And the lady in question today is one of a kind. She, at a point in time, was the SRC president of the University of Ghana when I was in level 100. So, I mean, she doesn't know that I've known her from quite a distance, And it was very shocking because, I mean, all the guys were guys who were running for the position. And in a multitude of a lot of boys, she stood out and she won clean cuts. She's gone on to do a lot of very impressive stuff. Now, in some political arena, now she runs with a certain political party and she's doing very good. Perhaps, maybe this gets to be the interview before she becomes a minister or a politician.
Hey.
But I'll tell you more about my guest shortly. She also runs a very big event and organizing company. They are known as Esidel Events. Maybe if you're a staunch follower and an admirer, perhaps you could get a clue of who I'm talking about. I'll tell you about my guest. But before that, you want to subscribe to this content, this podcast, wherever you consume the Apple Podcast, Spotify. Charlie, if you're watching us on the Joy News channel, we're grateful. We are back right after this break.
Talk, no dey cook right.
We're talking about Esinam Seade. Is it Seade or Seade?
It has evolved over time. Let me put it that way. But the actual pronunciation is Seade.
Seade. What does it mean?
It means a certain destiny.
Oh, okay.
Or a certain law. A Seade.
Oh, wow. Makes so much sense now. Esinam, I'm a big fan of you. I mean, I must admit, I like the fact that all the people I'm bringing on the podcast are people that have been great inspiration from a distance. When I was in Lagos level 100, skinny guy, didn't really like skinny.
I actually had no idea.
Yeah, I was in Lagos. I was in Lagos and I remember when you were in 400 at the time or so, or 300.
300 to 400,
and I was in 100, yeah. And yeah, I think before we get into all the successes, because you seem to be a woman who is always on the pedestal to success. Like you move from one success to another. And when I found out you were behind Esidel Events, I'm like, it makes so much sense because this lady she always got it coming. Please run us through. Are you a regular kid or you were born with a golden spoon? I mean, how come you are always chalking success? Tell us your background and all of that.
Thank you, Derek, once again for inviting me.
You're welcome.
Let me put that out there. It's a rare opportunity. I'm more than ordinary. I'm not going to lie. one that came from a very humble beginning,
Wow.
from a little suburb in Achimota called Kopevi.
In Achimota?
Yes.
Hey, Mentedo.
Yeah, it's called Kopevi.
Okay.
It's more popular as Akwetiman now.
Okay.
So if you know Akwetiman, let me just know.
Yeah.
You know, and the first of 3 girls with very incredible parents who did not really have everything, but made sure the little they had was sufficient enough for us and to encourage us to do better. So I grew up from there, and from there many things happened. Many things happened. So the genesis of it all was doing an exchange. So I got into Keta Senior High Technical School.
Okay.
So I'm a Keta school. I'm a Kosa proud Jolalian.
Wow.
I went on an exchange program.
Okay.
In high school. There I found myself in the United States. So that I spent a year on the YES program hosted by AFS. I'm sure you've heard about AFS. Yeah. So there I decided to, unearth all the abilities, and with the support of the structure that existed on the program and with the schools that I went to. So long story short, I did that exchange program. I had to defer a year, came back to Keta School to join my colleagues. When I was in the US, I was an honor student, but I still felt I needed to be connected to my roots somehow. And my headmaster for Keta School at that time, Seda Nukwa of blessed memory, encouraged me to come back to school, to Keta, so that I can be a part of, I can belong.
Okay.
It sounded really absurd at that time, but while I was there, I started with my genius. So, and around that time, we're doing the 4-year, 5-year, back to 4 years. So I spent about 5 years of high school. So most of my friends were way ahead. And you'd understand how that would make you feel. All your colleagues, they're in the university and you're back to high school. Unfortunately for me, the curriculum had even changed. So I had to work so hard again in learning everything that came with the change. I wrote the exams. Just after I finished school, then I contested in the Miss ECOWAS pageant. So I was Miss ECOWAS in 2013.
Wow.
And that also was a new chapter of my life. Then I got into the University of Ghana. So yeah.
Wow.
There's more of the story, but yeah, this is just the genesis of it for a little bit.
I like the fact that everybody started some. I've not had anybody on and they all talk about, and even those who were born rich, they all sort of had to start. No rich man raises their kid with the mindset that says, like Charlie, free,
absolutely.
And I think you mentioned something that, for the longest while, Ghana, a lot of the young people feel that you must go abroad. Listen, you can't make it in Ghana. And for me, I'm beginning to see a certain trajectory in the story you're telling us that I want to sort of attribute the successes you've chalked as part of tracing it back to the 1 year you spent abroad. Because exposure, you get to learn and see a lot of things that your colleagues are not used to. So your colleagues are in Keta, Keta school boys, girls, and all of that. There is a certain trajectory, but you go outside and you see, okay, really? So would you attribute the fact that
it was a defining moment of my life?
It did something?
Absolutely. Around that time, so that was 2011 to 2012, a lot of things, even on the political scene, was different in America and in Ghana. So I came back and shortly after Prof. Mills of late memory passed. But Obama also was in the loop way somehow. You would think that, because I was only 18 years old, but I was so in tune with current affairs and to know what was going on and all that. And I think I made sure that I made the best out of that 1 year experience that I had. And I am also very sure it was around that time that I said to myself, all the things that I'm learning in America at that time is not for the benefit of America, it's for the benefit of my home country.
Wow.
So I made that decision even before I was 18 years old, even before I could vote.
Wow.
Yes.
Why do you love Ghana this much? Don't you feel that Ghana, I don't know, not to be the devil's advocate, but
No, I understand you. And it is okay for anybody who is within our age bracket to say, I've had it all. Not everyone's resilience is built the same. And so what I can be able to tolerate is probably different. And for me, because I have had the mushiest background, I know what it is like to not want to have that again. And I also know what it's like to want it to be better for myself. However, it does not mean that I will solely depend on living in another country. By the grace of God, almost every summer I go to the US. And anytime I go and come, people who don't get the opportunity to travel a lot ask why I am being absurd. Like,
I don't know about back. Back to Ghana.
And sometimes I spend even 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I come back. But it's just by the grace of God. Let me put that as not for me to brag or anything, because even flights are expensive.
Yeah.
My dad.
Yeah.
They are. So I made it a point that anything I am doing for myself is not just for myself, but for God and country.
Wow.
Many people have been made by their countries. I think Kwame Nkrumah was made by Ghana and the story of Ghana, similarly, right? And so if I have that mindset, I know that God would find good reason to support my ambition because he knows that it is for country. I think that there is a place, my husband, and I'm sure you know, my husband's a pastor as well as I am as well.
Yeah.
And there was one sermon that he preached the other time that said, God has given everyone their God-appointed place. It would be well and good for somebody to relocate to another place who would find themselves true. By the grace of God, I found myself really early. And then I decided, if somewhere, somehow, in couple years later, it happens that I have to relocate for a greater good, for a project, for a mission, and it's the will of God and it's a clear instruction from God, I would do that. But I love Ghana.
Wow. I think, Esinam, there's a point where your love for Ghana sort of ends. And I'm talking about the young person who is literally seeing, and I'm thankful because you're on a path. I like today's conversation because I should say you're a politician. Yeah. Very soon.
I took a little break, but I'm back.
Great. You're back. You're a politician. And thankfully, you're a young politician. And I'm just talking about the young person who has sort of reached Charlie. No more Ghana because they're seeing it in their faces. The politicians are looting the money. People are being corrupt. Like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know.
I think that you want to hear what the consolation is for somebody who decides to be here.
Yes, because all my friends are seeing it and they still don't get, thankfully, by God's grace, I've got family abroad. And my mates don't get why
you are
okay,
Yeah.
And sometimes I try to sell the idea that, hey, you can still do it here, And so at what point does passion for country love ends patriotism? Because especially to what extent what more should I keep seeing?
So Derek, I'll ask you a question. So if you leave, I leave, your producers leave, what is going to be left for posterity to I don't think that our founding fathers or our fathers who, fought and toiled for the liberation of Ghana didn't think it was also good for them to leave. In fact, they had all the best opportunities to leave and the leeway. In fact, they had all the arsenals in their favor to want to be elsewhere. They educated themselves elsewhere. They had funding from elsewhere. The Bretton Woods, there were institutions, there were things that were formulated just to support the prime education of the budding Ghanaian young women and young men in the 50s. There were.
Yeah.
But they decided not to, because if they had decided to go, right, it means that you and I wouldn't have had a Ghana to be in.
Yep.
So I always say that, look, everybody has a threshold. If you think and you are very well convinced that this is not your turf and you want to move to another 18, Charlie, do it.
Makes sense.
But if you feel that you are not so impoverished. You feel there is a greater call for you to do something for yourself. You can. I'll tell you, I travel a lot, and the conditions of Ghanaians in the primary stage of their immigration is not very pleasant. Many people sit there and they say, look, it's because if I come back, people are going to make mockery of me. That is why I will stay and do the menial jobs. I always tell people, you want to relocate. If you are in Ghana, Derek, and push comes to shove, and you need a plate of rice for breakfast, you have an auntie, even if not in Accra, some Sogakope or somewhere that can sort you out. If you go and live everybody is on their wits' end.
Yeah.
Like, I feel people don't understand what it is like. I have so many stories that are like that. Sometimes people even can't bear the weather. Into walk like, you're just going to subject yourself. There are many people that go, they're not even able to care for themselves. They live in homeless shelters. They are using people's personalities. A greater part of that also has to do with your pride and your integrity and your persona. People say, hey, now put pride aside. We wouldn't want to really have conversation about pride. What is pride when you're suffering? It is the reason why we all as young people have to be and that was what motivated me to finally say, you know what, I'm going to get my hands dirty. Let me roll my sleeves up, because I see all the bad things that are happening. I see all the injustices, let me use that word. And I have a daughter. I don't want her to grow up in a country where she has nothing to be proud of, And so it's one of the reasons why I said, you know what, this time around, Charlie, wood for wood. I'm on it, So you can also take a position. Find a job. I tell you this. For me, when I decided to run a business, I said to myself, I still need corporate experience. It may not pay me very much, but I know I can build a structure or a system or a business that can be able to support a certain lifestyle that I want. Many people ask myself, so what if I don't find that one business or that one job? Keep trying. I always say, keep trying, do something that is external of if you have a residual income that comes, yes. Because a couple years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago, I went on Metro TV and I kept saying that, the likes of the NS Chemis and UTV and all these Ghanaian-owned budding businesses had to start from somewhere. So if we, the young people, don't have a structure where we also want to start from somewhere, in the next 10 years, we can't have a structure to employ people. We won't be able to be called the private sector. It will just be us depending on public sector or government or civil service to give people jobs. And the wheel keeps going on and on and on.
Wow. I'm excited. I like the trajectory of in fact, we've not even gotten to the main, which is how she's doing as an entrepreneur. But I like the mindset on the fact that, and you make it very clear that some people will do well here. When you make the evaluations, you juggle it and you realize that perhaps in here in the place for me, you can leave as well. But I think one of the things I've also noticed is that almost all the successful people, and that's what people also used to console themselves that, Meko, namako bre, namaba, edia besi. How about that?
Okay, so I wouldn't lie. It is a plausible idea. It's the fiscal structures of Ghana. So you guys say fiscal, not physical, like the financial, the fiscal structures of Ghana haven't really supported companies, individual and businesses that want to raise huge monies that will be investments. I don't know if it makes sense. So for you to be able to raise maybe $100,000 to $200,000 to start a business in Ghana, it's not very difficult. It's not very easy, and people think that I would rather go and do multiple jobs. Most of the people who are able to raise such monies because they run 2 or 3 shifts and all that. And this is not to be political, but that is why we want a 24-hour economy.
No sweat. I'm listening to you.
Because we know how our sisters and most of the people I know who live in the US are in the medical space. They're either nurses, RN, the LPNs, the nurse spaces, because my husband is a medic as well, so I know all the strategies. The doctors are also doing their best. And their salaries, if you're not frugal, you can be able to save quite a bit. I know some nurses who are building huge properties in Ghana, So imagine you want to do that. It's a brilliant idea. And now even the upcoming structures to support people who, and I think it was in the 2020 campaign where people can be able to be citizens elsewhere, come back and come and do politics, That way, we know that these people are coming with some good money, would start up businesses, will employ our young folks, and they can also have a living, right? So I am solely in support of a structure that is like that. If you are somebody who wants to come back with a banger, like come back big.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Guys, don't get it wrong. It's still your favorite podcast, Talking to the Cook Rice, where we sit down with well-meaningful young Ghanaians who are doing well. And I like Esinam's wisdom. She's really got it. I like the fact that she admits some of the it's not like because she's a politician. No, she admits that perhaps there's a problem here. Yeah. We probably should fix it. And I like that. I think now I want us to delve into the fact that a small girl, and of course you're not a small girl. I'm talking about I mean, growing up, the hunger. Why? I mean, why are you crazy about success? Why? Because right from your childhood, you started SEDL even before you became an SRC president and all of that.
Yes.
Where is this whole hunger coming from? Are you from a poor home?
So, poor can be used advisably.
Okay. Tell me about it.
I would say a very humble home.
Okay.
By the grace of God, a few things that we are doing. And you see, even in the Bible, it says that when God saves one person, he saves the whole family.
Yeah.
And that structure or that principle has stayed with me, even regarding the finances of my family and to make sure that everybody looks good. It's a Ghanaian cultural thing, yes, but it's one that I'm proud of because there are many people who live elsewhere that are like, when I succeed, I stress by myself, I did the work by myself, I'm going to enjoy by myself. I haven't had that structure, but my beginning was humbling. Grew up in a single room with my family. So I know that it is not the kind that I want to anymore. However, my passion has really been a feel-good incentive.
Okay.
I like the feeling of accomplishing. I like the feeling of progress. I like the feeling of being known to make an impact. And this is because we have very short time on earth. The very little, how many 100 years, 120 years, it is for you to enjoy some level of heaven on earth. So what are the things I can do so I can feel that heaven on earth? Would I want to wake up in the morning and be proud about the cup of tea I have made for myself because it's from Harrods and I could afford it?
Okay.
So it really isn't to make an impression or to pass a message to anybody. It is for myself. And I feel when young people decide to have that kind of motivation, many of the things you will do genuinely because one, you like it. Number two, because you will feel good about it. And number three, you would like to be consistent with it. I don't know if I'm making sense. So it probably isn't the kind of answer that you wanted, but you see, many times people say, oh, because I want to, let the world know that you can achieve it. Yes, there is that place for the world knowing, but there is your truth, which is how you feel, which is how you want to live. So if you look at your state of being and how you live and what you do and the things that you are up to makes you fulfilled or makes you excited, then you're successful.
Wow. And
that feel good metamorphoses into other people and the world seeing it.
Now, Esinam, I know a number of young ladies who want this same exact thing that you're talking about, where they get to be able to say, you know what, I'd prefer wearing a Prada or something. But then again, they are willing to compromise or sort of not.
They don't want to put in the work.
Or not interested in the long haul, more like a microwave, a casino type of thing.
Yeah,
And
the Indomie life.
Indomie generation, and so you have a number of young ladies willing to bend a bit, just to fit in.
Yeah.
How does that come off? Because you want to feel good, of course, get all the good things that you think you deserve, but ready to get your hands dirty and all of that. How does it come off to you when you see other young ladies? And not to say, I don't have anything personal against influencers. I mean, I have a couple of friends who are, but since when did showing your body influence a product?
Okay, I do understand. Let me not let you put yourself in trouble. Let me just...
Great.
So, I tell you how Esinam started. Maybe that can be a good genesis.
Yeah.
Legon, 2014, entry 2015. I used to do a lot of missions. So I've always been religious. Like I've always been...
guys, so for mommy, by the way, she's a reverend minister. So yeah, please get it right.
I started doing kids parties anytime we go on missions. So when everybody's planning, I am now speaking to corporate bodies. Like those days, I used to have really good contact with Pomazado and some other companies that produce children's drinks and all that. And I'll speak to them and say, we are going to the village. Can you give us some few items? Let's go and donate. Let's give out. And then I will be like, it will be my department. So do a party. Sometimes we'd get a bouncy castle in the villages where kids have not seen those, right? So it was such a passion. And then progressively, I realized that I can be able to do more luxurious ones in Accra and like a social enterprise, get the money that is a profit and plow it back into it. So I always would find opportunities to, and many of the events that I started doing, I would either break even or I'll lose. Because I was so eager to see how the finished look will be and how people will be excited. So yes, it was not for profit from the beginning. And then I would also like do some ushering agency and all that. I started doing those, getting ladies for corporate events. So we tilled the land up until now we're beginning to see structure. I registered a social event in 2015. How many years is this? So we're in 2024.
9.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next year will be 10.
10 years. Makes sense. No wonder.
So it's now you're seeing the result. And it's because I had to work. And one of the things I said to myself was that I don't want to deceive myself. This will not be a self-generated business, a self-financing and very economical initiative from the beginning, because I don't have that network capital. I don't have people who would invest huge sums in me when I was much younger to do events for them. And that's one of the things that people don't understand. When you start off a business, if you are lucky enough to be in a circle where people trust and believe that you can be able to deliver like excellent work and they give you so much money to do it, yes. But from the beginning, see, who didn't I DM in this Ghana? But I knew that eventually I would reach a point where I would be doing state events. I'll be doing, I will be highly sought after. And by that time, when I'm ready for those opportunities, I would have gone through all the building process or the process of structuring and self-development so I can be able to achieve it. So number one, yes, you want to look good, you want to get it fast and quick, but are you adding value to yourself? Are you developing yourself? Are you taking the time to be able to go through the meal? You are not going to have a 9-day one. There are all the opportunities that are coming to most of the big names now, the Jandels and all those people in the event space. We saw them, we saw the things that they had done, and they were phenomenal. And by the grace of God, now we are growing to that stage as well. But I had to tell myself that, calm down. If all the no's are in good faith.
Wow. And that's what I was how do you do a rejection?
Yeah, all the no's are in good faith. It means that, number one, they don't think you're ready enough for the opportunity. In fact, God probably doesn't think that you can be able to handle it well. When my very first and big event I did was through the late Jifa Ativo.
Okay.
She had just freshly set up a TV station in the Volta region called Volta One TV. And they called me to a meeting. They said, we want you to handle the launch.
Wow.
Can you do it? I was in Legon at that time.
Wow.
Yes.
You serious?
Yes.
Wow.
I was in Legon. And I will never forget that opportunity because I shone. Like, that's the past tense of shine, right? Shone.
Yeah. Is it shown or
I
shown?
shone.
Shown.
Yes.
I mean, you are the English one, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the genesis of my small build up. I started doing for corporates,
Wow.
you know. And not to forget, I always juxtapose this with working for a company or an institution.
Okay.
Yes. I from the beginning, I was always making sure it was part-time.
Okay.
Because I realized that sometime in the future, I would want to have this similar organizational structure and I need to learn. Many people, these days I speak to people and like, I don't want to work for anybody. I don't want to, that sounds amazing.
Wow.
But how long would you be able to sustain if you're not a student of organization, a student of structure, a student of an organogram? Many people don't get it. The Gen Zs and the millennials, yes, there are a lot of ways that we can be able to learn these structures by YouTube, by all this, the Udemys and the Coursera's and stuff like that. But there is no better teacher as experience. There's no better teacher as experience. That's why anytime I have an opportunity, I say, if you can just intend for it, just a short period, you go and see how it's done. So that if you go back to yours, you can also replicate what you've gone to learn.
Wow.
You know, so for me, it hasn't been just like 9-day wonder. Even with my ministry, like my ministry work, being a pastor and all that, we've done it all. I'm
proud of you and I'm excited. But then again, of course, you mentioned about submitting under somebody, understanding them. And of course, I have mentors because it makes sense that success is simple. Find somebody who's done it. Be humble enough to learn from them.
Absolutely.
And, you know, but then again, at what point do you go like, I don't want to be under anybody's stamp, especially when you get to find out that I'm different. I've got it. And you have, like, you've always been set apart from your peers, you know, at a very young age.
But I've still been under authority many times. Yes.
Okay.
I've had bosses. I don't think you know that I have like a career trajectory in trade.
Yeah, for international trade.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right from even my national service, I was a trade advisor with the British High Commission.
Yeah.
I've moved to the German. I've done some work for the Dubai Chamber.
Wow.
I've done some work for the French. So all those things were for me to have. And maybe that international environment has also culminated or contributed to the many things that I do and how different I do them. Almost 98% of my SDL clients are people who don't live here.
You're serious?
Yes.
Wow.
I hardly do Ghanaian, like people who live here.
You're serious?
Yeah, I hardly do Ghanaians.
All because of the network or the people you...
Okay, so after I do it for one person, the person, you know, so it's kind of snowballs. And I don't know how I have done my marketing structure, but referrals form like an 80% of my work as well.
Wow.
I don't do marketing now. It's now that we're trying to put structure to see how we can be able to still do the marketing. So the marketing that I do mostly is now for corporate institutions that are local. But it's because I have understudied and seen how international residents or people who are not Ghanaians like their things to be done. Not so many Ghanaian planners would want to do people's wedding like it's a project. You know, with their spreadsheets and with their links and their forms and the evaluation sheets. All those, no. So if you can't do it,
and that makes me very excited because now I want to also explore how do you approach a big event. Of course, as you mentioned, now your clientele is not even local and all of that. How do you go, especially when there's a lot of money involved?
Yeah,
is there a certain fear that we must get it right? Otherwise, you know, like how do you approach big events?
Okay, so I approach it with the same energy as I approach small events.
Okay.
Yes. Attention to a lot of detail because that is what sells you. You know, that is what, for an event planner, it's like you are now the eyes and the ears of the person who will be so busy on that day and won't be able to pay attention to most of the things. I remember one bride was like, Esinam, I completely forgot that for the wedding ceremony, we would kneel on pillows until I saw you guys holding pillows.
Wow.
Because, yes, you understand. So I have stylists on my team, right?
Okay.
Who would style the groomsmen and all that. To the point where we have like, what do you call that thing they used to hold your
cufflinks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just in case somebody forgets your cufflinks.
Wow. Because I forgot my cufflinks.
Exactly.
You have to be,
the details.
Wow.
Yeah, you forget that, so we approach it all equally. And I think that for me, my unique selling proposition is I'm the last minute girl.
Okay.
So the last minute girl, meaning that I've had many people run to me on the last minute. Esinam, I need this. Like we are doing it on Monday. Can you do it? And this person is talking to me on a Friday night.
Wow.
It's like, please, Monday we are supposed to. And the worst part is usually some of them will come and say, we'd have to pay you after the event.
You're serious?
Yes. So in a situation like that, what do you do? Like if you're not somebody who can be able to raise capital within a short possible time, you have a letter of interest, or how can you be able to raise the money quickly? Yeah. You're talking huge monies.
Yeah.
So God has been good. It didn't come just in a day.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wow. And then again, there's a point where you are doing bigger things. So other things tend to look too small.
Yeah.
Do you get to a point where you feel like, too small?
No, I don't. And it's also because the moment you start doing that, there's a fine line between lauding your abilities and being proud about your abilities. Like pride, I've tried so much so that I don't let that take center stage in the business that I do, because somebody will come in. I always tell people that I've reached a point where the events thing, I consider it another wing of my ministry.
Wow.
So I've had people who, sparingly, once in a while, somebody will come and say, Esinam, this is my budget. I know it's very small. Can you help me? And then I listen to the Spirit of God say, no, they can do it. And sometimes some of those events are the most beautiful events.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it every time they're after the money?
No. I've done many free events.
You're serious?
Yeah. And even paid my
your people
out of my pocket.
And how do you make up for that?
God will bring another person who would pay to supplement it.
Wow.
Yeah. My mother taught me that. She said, you know what? I'd rather take the small and accumulate it. So when I go to somebody's shop and maybe they have something on the shelf which is going to expire next month and they really want to sell that thing at that same amount, because that is, I just look at them like, you are going to lose the whole money in a month's time.
Wow.
And unfortunately, maybe for you, nobody will come in a month and it will be on the shelf. You probably have to dash it out or even throw it away because it's expired. So I'd rather the small. And for some really, really good reason, when those small things come and I do it wholeheartedly, those rather snowball into bigger opportunities for me. I can give you many, many, many examples. Wow. Yeah.
I'm beaming with a lot of gratitude and excitement because, of course, I'm very young. I'm 26. In fact, a lot of people think I'm very old. I'm 27. Is that?
No, it's good.
And to have more like a big sister and I always like to learn from my guests because then again, they've been through it. And so the advice they are giving makes so much sense. And it's like wisdom in season, Thank you.
Yeah, it is in season.
Then again, how do you keep yourself grounded? Because I think I see you as a celebrity. You're a celebrity.
Oh.
Now you're rolling with the big guns, I mean, when they launch, MVP launch.
We want to, get to a place where it no longer is about how it looks on the face, but another person looking over and saying, "Hey, I saw this girl when she started, and see how great she's doing."
Wow.
It's a good thing that will be an inspiration for other people. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Of course, as a starter and somebody who's always starting great things, and I think thankfully all the things you start turn out to be big. They don't turn out. Of course, not to say you've not had smaller stuff, but what are also other things that you've perhaps failed at Or perhaps some things you didn't do that you really wish could have done better.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting one.
Tell me about it.
Somebody said in a joke, I failed driver's test before. So.
Wow.
Anyways, so this has always been my approach. Even towards if I want to start a new business and all that, I bounce off the ideas with people, and then I do like a pitch version of it. So let's say I'll start something small in that space and see how it's going to go. But for a very, very interesting reason, like I haven't gone neck deep into something and then like it kind of has backfired. Wow. And then I have to now pick up the crumbs. Wow. God has always like let my foot forward in certain things. So hardly, I'm thinking on top of my head and I'm not really sure, And it's also because, see, nothing that God's hand is in fails. As long as God has some level of involvement in it, it is to his name. Many things that God, orchestrates or uses you to do. He's a God that likes to brag. He's a God that likes to show off. And so, unless he's not a part of it, or unless he didn't authenticate it, or he didn't give you a go-ahead or a green light, as long as he is. And many times, if I realize that I'm struggling in a certain department or there's something, I'm like, God, you said to me, this is something that you are involved in, or you gave me the green light to do it. Can you sort this out real quick? And I think that I've come to that point where I have a casual relationship with God.
Wow.
Casual. And it's been incredible. It's been incredible. So yeah, maybe after I leave here, something will come to mind, but I really
understand. And guys, this goes on record to be another guest attributing their success to their relationship with God. Everyone I've had here, nobody talks about their success without God. And once again, I'm not trying to push anything down your throat, but perhaps you may have to reconsider. Just moving on that. Of course, you work with clients, and the way events work with, you have a lot of things running, calling a lot of vendors and all of that. Was there ever an event that you had maybe perhaps a tough client or like something stupendous happening? Like, oh my God, are you serious on this day? Tell me about it.
Oh, the very last event that I did, I think the boat driver bolted with the bride's mother's dress.
You are serious? By mistake or intentionally?
I don't know how the thing happened, but then we tried to call the guy was not picking. The guy initially, he said he had reached somewhere, then he couldn't find, the police had caught him, and we asked what police station. He said Legon. So we went to East Legon, we went to the University of Ghana police station. They said, nobody has come there. They've not caught anybody.
You are serious?
What is this? And this is like what? A couple hours before the event start, like 2 to 3 hours before the event start. And this is the bride's mom who will now wear the veil for the bride. And the bride is so attached to her mom so that it was like so, Charlie, everybody started calling. Jesus. I remember, I don't know if you know Tatas.
No.
Tatas Taristas. Oh,
I know.
Tatas, Charlie. I was like, do you know anybody at boat? But I was like, oh my God. So we went on and on and on. People, and the people were quite, apparently, when I took on the event, I didn't know that they were a big family in Ghana.
Okay.
And so I worked with them like I would work with everybody until the morning of, and I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay. So this is actually this person's son, blah, 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 blah. And later on, I think they also made some calls, and we finally got a call from the boat guy that he had gone back to their residence where they live to go and leave the dress, and he was demanding a sum of money. And they said, let's give the money to the guy and let him go. I think he realized that, Charlie, because we reported it to boat, it was a whole lot. So, Charlie, things really happened. And I remember that same event, the bride wore her dress, and she finished wearing the dress. We were like, oh, this is so pretty. Out of nowhere, there were red lipsticks all in the dress. Charlie, this is like she's about to walk the aisle. What do I do as I come? It's like, don't worry, And if you're somebody who panics, you can't do these kind of jobs. So it's like, oh, don't worry, we'll take care of it. Then I came to kneel down. I picked the toothbrush. I picked, eventually worked out. No, there are many stories. I have some brides whose moms have been such trouble. I remember one of them, one event I finished and I had to travel to the US for my break. Then I was there and then one of my people called from my office because I used to run an office around that time. And they said, oh, some legal people have come to leave some letter for you. I don't know whether it was a suit or something. It's like, see, nobody should annoy me.
For what?
So apparently the woman said that so she helped the bride do her engagement. Her mom said she used to be an event person or whatever. So then I don't know whether she thought I was taking credit for the decor. I was not even doing decor, so there was no way I was going to. Then I said they should take a picture of the letter and sent me. It was from a big law firm. I was like, who do you think you're scaring? Then I took a picture. By the time I got back to Ghana, they said, oh, the woman has come for her letter.
Wow.
So she said that I was taking credit for her work.
Oh.
But then I was like, I have signed an agreement with your daughter that this is the things I'm doing for her. And in return, she would agree for me to post her wedding. So, and none of the things I've posted here shows that taking credit for the work you've done.
Wow.
I didn't even question nobody. I didn't even ask the bride. I didn't ask anybody. I said, okay, when I come to Ghana, I'll take care of it. By the time I came out, I went to the office and I asked them, where's the letter? I said, oh, it's like, because I would have made so much money from that suit.
Wow.
Counter suit.
I can imagine. I'm excited. Of course, we're wrapping up. Of course, now you're into politics. I don't know. Well, I work as a newscast TV director, so I do PM Express and all the other shows. And this politician, I don't want to say these, I mean politicians come, your friends, your good friends, your buddies, they come on the show. And sometimes you listen and, I mean, even in the studio, you can see that some of the guys, like, they've lost hope and all of that. In a place where, and so now, in fact, I was given a certain statistics that in Ghana, if you want to make it, 1, be a politician. 2, be a footballer. 3, leave the country. And the 4th one, be a pastor or something, because people believe religious people are cashing out. I mean, flipping it back to you being, because you are 2, I'll come to you for the 2. You being a politician. Esinam, have you just not seen enough to not want to be a politician? I mean, the corruption and all the looting and people being self-centered. Why do you still want to enter into a space? Murky waters, a place where you don't know when you get to, bend the rules a bit.
Okay, so I think that all the things that you spoke about, all the 4 things you've mentioned, are actually not the best ways to make money if you're doing it right.
Okay.
So let me start from the past. And let me rephrase it. So all the 4 things you've mentioned, right, are not what we assume to be the shortcut to success.
Well, that's what so I'm speaking for the street guy in Circle who believes
that these are the things cheated. That.
Yeah, I'm not speaking for the elite young person who wants to. Yeah.
Okay. So I don't. In fact, it has never crossed my mind to do politics because of some level of benefit. I think the moment that comes to mind, the purpose is defied. Mine has always been my desire to lead, to make an impact, to influence a cause, or to influence people's minds and decisions, right? So if that has been my reason, and some way, somehow, there is some form of benefit that comes to it, why not? But it's never been. And I don't think it should be for anybody where they think, oh, what is the DB and all that. No. As far as I know, let me tell you this, when I was SRC president, I honestly think that I invested more into the leadership position than I ever gained. And that is because I had some dire passion for the things that I was doing and for the people for whom I was doing. And so I even pulled in to the picture people who had nothing to do with SRC just to support courses that we were running, like having people sponsor and fund projects and programs and all that. These people could have given me the money personally for me to spend. But I said, you know what, for the benefit of the people that I'm leading, these are our needs. These are the things that we want to do. And so we want to do it. So yes, it's never been about that. My position for anyone who would think that will be a fail-safe way is you are just coming on to add to the troubles.
Wow.
Like, I'd rather you don't even show up around it at all. Because you see, the reasons why we are crying is because people are trying to get themselves richer by all these dubious means. And the greater mass is suffering. So you coming in thinking you want to do, and I'm really happy that my flag bearer, who said, you know what, I am not going to be a clearing agent, really, really, really means it. Like, nobody who is going to come in the upcoming government should think that they are coming to chop money. Like, I will personally make sure that ANC. I don't know if
I get it.
I've stepped on any muddy waters this morning, but I don't care. I just, because young people are suffering already. We are. There are no jobs. The economy is. See, me, sometimes if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, Charlie, and then there are any soakings, I'll eat it like that because I know that there is a point in my life where I've had the fried rice and chicken. And so if I eat the gari and the soakings right now, it's just for a short time. We always want to do things that will make conditions of life better for people. So please, nobody should come into politics thinking that they're coming to make and amass some wealth.
Quick one.
I beg you.
The issue of now votes buying. Politicians tend to, well, now they call it, lunch for Charlie, something for the boys. Esinam, you have elections coming up.
Yeah.
I know you got values, you're a woman of value and all of that. Are you sure you will not perhaps be in a position where
to give or to collect?
To give. Because you are the politician. You are
to give.
Yeah, you don't have to give.
Hey, baby, my flag bearer said if they bring the money, I should collect some. No, those who have the money, see, I'll be honest with you. So when, on days of election, right, there are the needs of people who are working and all that. I have really not been a big fan of vote buying because maybe it's because I am young. I always say that if I need to stand for any position or to a seat where there's campaign and stuff like that, I'll probably do it at a point where I know that I have so much to spare. I don't think when I was contesting for SRC, I did any buying or anything. Like when you are sharing a good story or when you are coming at a time where you are like the savior of the status quo, there is very little incentivizing that you'd have to do. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm here to think about the Martin Luther Kings giving out things because they wanted the black people to feel like, yes, we are. No. It's a campaign. It's a crusade for saving the day. So if I'm here to save with you, why do I have to pay you to save you?
Okay.
Do you understand me?
That's a fair point.
No. I can't sacrifice and sacrifice. No.
Okay. I guess.
But other people, when they bring it to
as you said, let's not get into muddy waters. I'm so excited to have had this conversation with you. Wrapping up, we're just doing light note questions, quick take. If you couldn't eat any food at all and you had to only eat one food for the rest of your life, what food it gonna be?
This is a hard one.
Europe.
One food the whole of my life.
The whole of your life.
Hey. Oh, Derek, this is too hard.
One food. I mean, you like a lot of food.
Like, just tilapia.
You're serious?
Yes.
Not with banku, nothing. Just
it's kind of put as you think the banku is the food. The food, it's just accompaniment. The food is the.
Oh, okay. Banku
so like
is another accompaniment.
If you go on yes.
Wow.
Rice always comes. So, for instance, like if you go on a plate, they'll ask you beef or chicken. Did they ask you rice or spaghetti?
Oh, Jesus. Never thought about this. Wow. Man.
And that's how I see it. I
like your point of view.
Yeah. So tilapia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Busy day, you're organizing an event. You have a lot going on. What's your quick drink or food to go for?
Plantain chips.
You're serious?
Yeah.
Why?
On the go.
On the go.
Quick,
Something crispy.
And it's not fatty or anything. Just, yeah.
Wow. Good. Now you're a mother. How do you juggle your kids' event, especially on a busy day? What do you do? How do you manage your kids? Do you have to take them to your grandma, lock them up? What was it?
No. So there are some days that my mom would either tag along because I'm still breastfeeding, right?
Wow.
So either tag along or I don't do like overnight.
Okay.
So I have to, no matter where I go, I have to come back.
Wow.
and come back as soon as possible.
Makes
But
sense.
there are some days that I take them along with me. I take her. Look, I have a car seat at the back of my car, and my baby, she's very, very cooperative. She
Wow.
can be in there. I just have to make sure there's food, there's drink. We do short stops. Yeah.
Wow.
So either she's with me or my mom is helping, or I have
Wow.
a sweet girl called Abigail. She's my husband's niece.
Okay.
When she's on vacation or
Wow.
she's not at school, she comes to hang out with us.
That's a good one. If you had a superpower, if you could have a superpower, what's it gonna be, and why would you go for that superpower?
Oh, the superpower would be to to travel without passport, to travel without
Okay.
yeah,
You
just
want to teleport?
just
Wow.
travel anywhere, teleport,
Okay.
just go anywhere,
Great.
and have
Because-
the money to do it, like
and
have,
have-
the money to chill,
Okay.
because
Okay. Makes sense.
do shopping and
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. The last one. You're a politician. You're also a reverend minister. You have the opportunity to choose one. Which would you
I'd
go for?
always choose ministry.
You're serious?
Yes.
No politics.
I'd always choose ministry.
Why?
I think my husband would think that I would choose the politics. Because it's also another form of ministry. So
Wow.
if you put it that way, yeah. It's another
Makes
form of
sense.
ministry.
Thank you, Esinam,
Thank you.
for coming on
Thank
Talk
you.
Not the Cook Rice podcast. I am so excited. We've been having a conversation with a young, impressive woman. I mean, as you said, she's not a small girl. She's a married woman. She's even got a kid. Don't joke. Who is behind SDL events, and she was at a point in time the SRC President of the University of Ghana, and she's doing so well. She's shining. Charlie, she's cooking. She's not talking. And if you're here, you already have got this event stuff. And as she said, Charlie, she understudied a number of people. So there's nothing wrong with, even though you feel you are great, Charlie, be humble enough, understudy somebody, and you'll be shocked at the number of people who also perhaps come and understudy you. Thank you so much for tuning to this podcast. Of course, subscribe to this content wherever you consume, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Hey, on the Joy News channel, thank you for making the time to watch it. We are back another time with another wonderful guest. Bye-bye.
Amazing. This was fun.
Talk no dey cook rice.